Live from our 7 Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Kim Miller begins now.
Good evening. An in-demand food relief program is on the brink of collapse, leaving hundreds across the state hungry. The Waterbridge food CoOp has run out of government funding, in need of a lifeline to survive past June.
Skyrocketing fresh produce prices are making nutritious meals harder to come by for struggling Tasmanians.
We're all here for the community to help them, because with the way it is today out there, all the prices rising on everything, and they rely on us to help them.
Here at Waterbridge Food Co-op, ready-made options are heavily discounted to help combat the cost of living.
We put out about 3 or 4 lots a day in the kitchen of different variety of foods, and everything's gone within a week.
But these volunteers will be forced to shut the doors if they can't secure more funding.
They're asking for ongoing funding support to make sure that Waterbridge can keep its doors open, keep providing meals to the community and fresh fruit and vegetables.
Community Services Minister Nick Street is aware of the situation and is working to meet with the organisation to discuss how the government can assist.
Tasmanians, volunteers mainly, right across our state, who work tirelessly to ensure that people who need support with their cost of living and putting food on the table get it.
As well as community service organisations, Tasmanian businesses are feeling the pinch from financial pressures. The state's Chamber of Commerce now pushing for the government to provide relief measures.
We know the cost of doing business has increased, and energy is one of those major areas. The numbers we're hearing are really quite scary for Tasmanian businesses.
Urging our leaders to start the conversation.
We need to discuss as a state how we use the revenues that our energy producers and also GBUs produce for Tasmanians in their hip pocket.
What could be welcome news for those doing it tough. Grace Evans, 7 Tasmania News.
The state's health union has described the departure of Ambulance Tasmania's chief executive as a huge blow. HACSU is concerned challenges facing the service will go unaddressed while interim positions are held. It's pushing for a permanent solution urgently.
We have a culture that really does need to be addressed in ambulance that Joe had commenced work on. We're now back to scratch. We're having to start again.
We'd like to thank Mr Acker for his excellent leadership and service to Ambulance Tasmania and wish him well for the future. We certainly have confidence in the leadership and the management arrangements going forward as well.
National and international recruitment is now underway to find a replacement. A cement carrier which caused massive disruptions at the Devonport Wharf last year has been caught up in another incident. It was barred from Tasmanian waters yesterday, but less than 24 hours later, its ban has been overturned. Reporter Annie Green has more.
Kim, an incident on Monday night saw the Goliath cement carrier banned from Tasmanian waters. Tasport says human error led to the ship suffering engine failure while the vessel was leaving port. CEO Anthony Donald says the harbour master has now approved the ship to berth after the owner, CSL, provided a report about the incident, which included actions the company was taking to fix the situation. Goliath crashed into 2 tugboats last year, causing millions of dollars damage and sparking a major clean-up and salvage operation, which took months. The government says it will be working with Cement Australia to ensure its operations aren't disrupted by the ban.
I understand that Cement Australia has had some options recently where it's been using other shipping.
The ship is expected to return to the Port of Devonport tomorrow. Kim?
Well, a former Cricket Tasmania employee found guilty of stealing more than $5,500 from the organisation may have changes made to her sentence. Renee Ferguson was sentenced to 8 months home detention last week, but today in the Magistrates Court, Community Corrections filed an application to review a home detention order. The matter will return to court later this month. The state government is under fire over a new pay deal for teachers which saw industrial action stopped. The opposition is questioning why the improved offer took so long, as the Education Minister spruiked a $10 million plan to get more students learning in the open air.
Going gaga over new outdoor amenities. Gaga ball now a mainstay at this Devonport High School.
It's turned it from an area that wasn't really used that much well, if you see it at recess and lunch, it's packed out all the time.
The new outdoor learning space also gives students a place to learn out in the fresh air.
You get closer with people that you didn't think you'd be able to connect with outside of the classroom.
Reece High School, one of nearly 150 schools having funding kicked in by the government.
Some students, their preferred learning style or preferred learning needs and not always within the four walls of a classroom.
As debate over teachers' pay deal demands leave the schoolyard and takes to cyberspace. A Liberal Party Facebook post saying the Education Union had come to its senses over Friday's cancelled school strike.
Look, I'm aware of that post. I'm very focused on us getting to the next step.
There are children working in overstretched classrooms now who are showing more maturity than what we're getting out of Liberal Party HQ.
With Labor taking aim at how long negotiations have taken, saying the government is too quick in dismissing teachers' classroom concerns.
It's a pretty sad state of affairs when the Education Union has to threaten industrial action to finally get the government to listen to the struggles and the pressure that teachers are facing in the classroom.
We've been in these negotiations and putting offers on the table since September. The teachers yet haven't seen the offer.
The new offer is expected to be put to teachers as early as next week. Annie Green, 7 Tasmanian News.
There's been serious traffic disruption to and from Sorell after a crash on the Tasman highway just after noon. A truck ended up in the water, blocking the causeway. The driver isn't believed to have suffered any serious injuries. Traffic was brought to a near standstill as emergency services worked to retrieve the truck. Motorists were forced to divert via an alternate route. The truck was pulled from the water around 3 o'clock. A coroner has put driving tests in the spotlight after examining a fatal 2020 crash. The victim passed her test 11 days before the Durkins Road incident. Her test examiner said applicants often only learn how to pass a test rather than become safe drivers. Coroner Robert Webster said it was not relevant to this case, saying the girl was a competent driver, but it would be prudent for State Growth to discuss this. The coroner also recommended Durkins Road be resealed and a barrier on it be extended, noting previous incidents. More than 400 charges against 103 people have been laid as part of a police sting operation. The 6-member task force Viper has targeted the Launceston area since January, focusing on community safety and detecting offenders.
There was a perception of antisocial behaviour and has been also a rise in shop stealings.
Police also reminding us to protect belongings from burglary and theft, saying thieves are often opportunistic. In a shock announcement, Jack Jumpers CEO Simon Brookhouse has announced he's stepping down. Our reporter McKenna Bailey has more details. McKenna, what's behind the departure?
Well, Kim, making the announcement today, Simon Brookhouse says leading the club has been a career highlight, but feels now is the right time to look for a new challenge as the club prepares for a new phase of ownership. JJ's owner Larry Kesselman addressed the media this afternoon. Here's what he had to say.
I think the overwhelming feeling is of a successful 2.5 years. I think that's how I feel, and feel indebted to him for the work that he's done.
While the club owner says he's engaged a firm to try and sell the Tasmanian NBL team, the Jack Jumpers board says conversations between Brookhouse and the club have been ongoing for months, and it didn't come as a surprise, thanking their inaugural CEO for his service and contribution today. Brookhouse will step down from the role next Friday with 2 senior executives to act in the role for the interim. Kim.
Hey, thank you, McKenna. We'll see you later with sport. Hobart's housing market has been flooded with new properties. In the busiest February for 6 years, new listings increased by more than 11% compared to January. It's the only capital city to see year-on-year growth. The total number of properties is now nearly double that of a year ago, up 92%. The new Tasmanian venture is hoping to help bolster the state's housing crisis by building affordable portable homes. The company uses a computerised frame and truss machine which allows it to create walls and roofs.
In a day we can have a whole house frame ready to go just using this system.
They say it takes 4 weeks to build a home, with installation times depending on council approval processes. Libraries Tasmania is hosting its largest statewide campaign, scattering free events around the island to promote reading. The organisation is hoping to celebrate storytelling, also aiming to lift our poor literacy rates.
Fostering a love of literacy from a young age.
I love reading and I love being at school.
Tasmania Reads Week is all about lighting that fire or keeping it going, encouraging people to tell their stories in every way, shape and form.
If you'd like to get a round of applause, come on, give it up.
You can tell your stories through art. You can also tell your stories through dance. You can tell your stories through drawing.
The initiative is inspired by Australian Reading Hour, with more than 70 free events happening around the state.
Bookshops have joined in. We've got QR codes on the buses so you can download something to read on your commute. And jack jumpers have jumped on board as well.
The Clarence Twilight Reading Fair today inviting all ages and abilities to tap into their inner bookworm.
I found these books that I like because I have them in my class and I normally read them when we have some quiet reading.
The event hoped to lift literacy rates. Recent NAPLAN results saw Tasmania ranked the second worst performing state or territory in Australia.
Reading with even very young children, just sharing sounds and words with babies is a really important part of their development. I think if we could get that message across, we'd be in a better place.
Obviously has life skills connection, but also just encouraging their imagination through stories, I think is really important.
Brianna Boylan, 7 Tasmania News.
Hundreds of university students have spent the afternoon mingling with 29 potential employers at the Engineers Australia Career Expo. The students spoilt for choice as Tasmania grapples with skills supply challenges.
We're predicting that we're going to have a shortage of somewhere between 50 to 100,000 engineers over the next 10 years or so.
The event has come at the perfect time, with major infrastructure tasks like the potential Marinus Link creeping closer. An art exhibition paying homage to the landscapes of Japan is now on show at the Handmark Gallery in Salamanca. It marks half a decade since artist Kay Green went on her Rotary exchange there. She's looking back on the experience through 50 individual pieces of work.
I wanted them to be a definite statement, so I thought bonsai. They hold the key. They're about memory and time and reflection.
How beautiful is this? So very, very exciting for us to share Kay's journey and celebrate her.
The showcase will be available to the public until March 27.
Tigers batsman Tim Ward is climbing the country's cricket rank, selected for an Australia A squad. Ward has been named as part of the 14-man team to tour New Zealand next month. The national second string unit will play 2 4-day matches across the Tasman. Tasmania is entering not one but 2 Utah squads into the University Basketball League for the first time in the competition's history. Gracing the national stage, our emerging athletes will be given the opportunity to learn and play. Bouncing into the basketball big leagues.
Oh yeah, incredibly excited. It's an amazing opportunity and I think it adds to the university life as well and that experience.
Tasmania's sporting story is making leaps and bounds, with Utah students set to storm into the University Basketball League.
I haven't had a chance to be a part of something like this before. Like, I've played club down here, but this is really the first opportunity to kind of go away and play against other states.
It's a full national home and away competition and there are 13 universities participating nationwide, and this is the first year that the University of Tasmania will have both a men's and a women's team in the UBL competition.
Giving our next generation of basketballers the opportunity to juggle study and sport.
I'm doing a Bachelor of Business, but I'm only doing it part-time, which kind of, that takes a bit of stress and the load isn't as much, so it allows me to train and play a lot more. While also staying on top of study as well.
We have students studying medicine, education, sports science, architecture. They get to chase their academic goals, but also play in an elite basketball competition.
Tasmania's 2 underdog squads of 16 are ready to take on the national competition, beginning their campaign in Ballarat next week. The Tasmania Netball League is expanding, with a new southern side and stadium joining the lineup. The competition enters its 36th year, making it the longest running sporting league in the state. Passing the ball to a bright new team, the South East Suns are a shining addition to the Tasmanian Netball League.
It feels really exciting to be part of something that's so community-based, and it's just really exciting to be part of something new.
Former Arrows player Alana Cooper will captain the side, seeing the competition expand to 8 teams.
I decided to move across because I wanted to build something new. I'm most looking forward to making those first steps with South East Suns. I think it's a huge honour and a huge privilege to be able to do that.
With a new place to call home with the Suns Stadium based in Sorell.
It's a first-rate facility, so whether or not you're the Suns playing at home or one of the teams that's there playing away, I think everybody's really going to enjoy the quality of that facility.
It's a new look season, taking a short and sweet approach with just 14 rounds. Clubs have been working on their fitness and court connections ahead of the league's launch.
We've just been doing the hard yards in pre-season to just build on what we had last year.
We do have a fresh team this year, but yeah, looking forward to seeing what we can put on the court and yeah, hopefully still be some pretty good competitiveness out there.
The starting siren on the new season is set to sound next Friday night at the home of the Suns.
Good evening. Hobart City 19 degrees today. Launceston, St Helens, Friendly Beaches and Hobart Airport our high with 21. Devonport and Burnie 20. Cool breezes today had temperatures sitting below average. Low Head and the Islands 19. Grove and Bushy Park 18. Strawn 17. Lyawini 1 overnight to a high of 11. And we had a sustained field of cold and unstable air over the state today, bringing showers mostly to the west and southwest. The cool westerly winds blew cloud onshore over southeastern parts of the country as well. Pretty clear elsewhere, apart from clouds spiralling out of a low over northern Queensland. Tomorrow, an area of high pressure moves over Victoria, still directing westerlies our way. That trough dominant again over northern climates. Those westerlies through Bass Strait will reach 30 knots with west-northwesterlies to 25 knots elsewhere. Swells to 3 metres in western waters. Now that would be good if they maintained until the weekend for the Rip Curl West Coast Classic at Marrawar, but the forecast there is for southwesterly swells at around 2 to 2.5 metres to kick off the big surf event on Saturday at Marrawar. Strong wind warning we have for waters from Stanley to St Helens Point and also from Wineglass Bay to Sandy Cape. Hobart tomorrow, a top of 22 and partly cloudy. Huonville 21, 22 for Campania. Launceston, partly cloudy and 23, 22 the top for Devonport, OK for Georgetown, 21 the maximum. 20 for Burnie, showers for Strawn 19, cloudy for Wynyard 21 the high. St Helens a top of 23 and mostly sunny. Swansea 24, 23 the high for Port Arthur. UV at a high 7 for tomorrow. Saturday a few showers over the west and far south, otherwise fine. Those showers over the west will extend to the south on Sunday and maybe later to the northeast, and on Monday mostly fine apart from a shower over the northwest and northeast. Sunny tomorrow in Perth and Adelaide, a cloudy 24 for Melbourne, fine as well in Canberra and Sydney, but showers and 28 in Brisbane. Bit of cloud about Hobart, 16 at the moment, 18 in Launceston, partly cloudy in Devonport and 17 degrees. Not only the Rip Curl Classic at Marrawar on the weekend, we've got the Taste of the Huon coming up, Kim, and also a big weekend at Steamfest at Sheffield. I'm taking it upon myself to make the weather good for all of that.
You do all the right things. Well done, Murph. Good night. That is all your news for now. We'll be back later with updates. Good night, everyone.